Hey everyone, welcome to the Sunplug YouTube channel. My name is Sam, and in today's video, I'll be showing you how to lift a car safely on an unstable surface like gravel or dirt. The reason I decided to make this video is because this lovely Mark V Golf here has got some leaks underneath the engine, and I want to get the car lifted up so that I can try and find them. But there's a problem. The house that I live in is only a base spec model. Not only did the original owner not pay for the garage pack, they've also left off some of the most important optional extras, such as a paved or concrete driveway, meaning that I've been left with this. I've been looking into trying to retrofit the higher trim level stuff, but it's all pretty expensive, so we're just going to have to work with what we've got. All joking aside, I know a lot of people out there will be in a similar position to me. You want to work on your car, but you don't have a nice, solid, level area to work with. Well, fear not, because today I'll show you everything you need and all the steps involved to solve this problem. For this video, I thought it would be important to have a disclaimer, as I can't afford to be sued because someone didn't listen carefully and got this wrong. Shit. Wrong one. The big problem with trying to lift your car on something like gravel is that your equipment might sink or slide, which could then lead to a serious accident. I'm going to tell you the solution to this problem, but before I do, I'll run you through all the tools that you're going to need. First up, we've got a trolley jack, as well as 2 axle stands, and some wheel chocks. You can also use a jack pad like me, but this is optional. The jack pad will just stop the jack from damaging your car and provide good grip. Just note that if you want to lift all 4 corners of your car, you'll need 4 axle stands. I only have 2, so I'll just be lifting the front end of this car. Originally, I was going to buy another set of axle stands and show you how to lift the entire car, but unfortunately, Halfords were completely out of stock. Which means the 11 of you that actually watch this video will have to use your imagination to lift the rear end of the car. To help you out, I've linked a great video in the description below that shows you how to lift an entire car on a level surface. If you combine the method from this video with mine, you'll be sorted. The video comes from quite a small channel that you might not have heard of before, called Engineering Explained. Moving on, if you enjoy converting oxygen to carbon dioxide, make sure that you check that your lifting equipment is rated to hold the weight of your car. Yep, that feels like less than 2 tons to me, so we're good to go. I've just shown you the tools you're going to need, but there are some other things that we're going to want if we're going to make this work. I hope you're ready, because I'm about to reveal the one thing that makes lifting your car on gravel or dirt possible. It's plywood. Yep, you heard me. Plywood. Some simple pieces of plywood will allow your lifting equipment to spread the load more evenly across the surface you're working on. This will then prevent the jack or the stands from slipping or sinking. I'm using 18mm thick plywood, and I wouldn't recommend going much thinner than this, as it needs to be strong enough to support your car. I also wouldn't go too much thicker either, or it might become difficult to fit the plywood and your jack underneath your car. To get the other dimensions of the wood right, just measure your lifting equipment beforehand, and then cut your plywood pieces to size. You'll want to make the pieces of wood for the axle stands just slightly bigger than the stands themselves, so that they can comfortably sit on top, but the pieces won't take up any unnecessary space. I decided to keep the piece for the trolley jack quite large, as it gives you room to slide the jack under the car and position it correctly. It also means that the load can be distributed over a wider area. This is important, as the trolley jack often has to support more weight than the axle stands. Once you've got your measurements, it's time to cut the wood to size. If you're lucky like me, the place where you bought the wood from will cut it for you. But if not, this stuff's easy enough to cut with a handsaw. With your plywood and tools ready, we can get on with lifting the front end of this car. Make sure you check your car's owner's manual to find out where the lifting points are. Once you've done this, engage your vehicle's parking brake and place some chocks under the rear wheels to make sure the car doesn't roll anywhere once we start lifting. And then Place the piece of plywood for your trolley jack under one of the rear lifting points on the car. Place your trolley jack on top, slide it under, and lift that side of the car. You want to keep lifting until you can place the plywood and axle stand comfortably under the front lifting point. Once you've done this, slowly lower the jack until the car sits securely on the axle stand underneath the front lifting point. Now, just move around to the other side of your car and repeat these steps. You've got to be a bit more careful on this side because the other side of the car is sitting on an axle stand, so keep an eye on that. It shouldn't be too difficult. And that's it. It really is that simple. To add some security to the car if you're wanting to get underneath it, I'd advise positioning the jack on one side or on a centre jacking point, and then raising it until it touches the car. Alternatively, you can place something like wooden blocks underneath the wheels. This is just to add another layer of security in case one of the axle stands was to fail. If you're wanting to lift the rear of the car, like I said earlier, just check the link in the description, and make sure you add 2 pieces of plywood under each of the rear axle stands. Lowering the car back down is just the reverse of the lifting process, as you can see here. All you need to do is raise the car up slightly, remove the axle stands and plywood, and then lower the car back down. Do that on both sides, and you're done. I really hope you enjoyed this video and you found it useful. For those of you that are wondering, while I had this car lifted up, I got underneath it and I found those leaks.